Welcome to Small Business Hacks. This episode is about the PEST, or PESTLE, one of the greatest tools I ever used in my entrepreneurial journey. But before, a bit of background story. I was born in one of the most hostile places for business on the planet, the countryside of Brazil. One of the reasons for this unfortunate reality is the humongous bureaucracy. So when I moved to Poland, I was very optimistic. I was confident that I would not face the same problems that my family, mostly entrepreneurs, had in Brazil dealing with paperwork. I was wrong. My high expectations led to the first defeat in my entrepreneurial journey. That included a fine for not signing a permit request. Poland is not as bureaucratic as Brazil, but it still demands a lot of form filling and permits for most businesses. This story is just one example of many among founders venturing outside of their homeland. Do not take me wrong. Optimism is not bad. If you are purely pessimistic, you would not leave your room. You would not even be an entrepreneur. To give some fuel to your optimism, the first step to avoid these mistakes is simple. It is straightforward. Only 4 words resume it. Be white. Be open. A common denominator for the failure of numerous expatriate enterprises is the posture that I call the nostalgic denial. You identify this mood in phrases like, "Oh, I cannot believe that here things go like that. These would never happen in my country." Admittedly, all of us voiced a similar phrase at some point. This is natural. In my case, I told the same expression when I realized that neighbors, in Poland, have the right to veto new businesses opening their neighborhoods. You need to ask if they have any objections before you settle your company. Even coming from a very bureaucratic country like Brazil, I never heard about this procedure, so it was my time to say, these would never happen in my country. However, there are many good things that happen in Poland that would not happen in Brazil. Things like the peace of walking around without the fear of criminals. It's not a problem to have nostalgic denial sporadically, but to be in a frequent state of it is the formula to frustration and to harm your initiative. If you are shipwrecked on a desert island, it will not help to cry in sorrow for not having a handsaw to build a ship. Work with the tools and conditions you have available. Knowledge of cultural aspects can uncover profitable opportunities. Ignore them, and your business may be dead before starting. A first step to understand the business culture and the conditions you have on hand is the PEST analysis, or PESTLE. This is a tool that will help you to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Often forgotten, the PEST analysis is central in the planning phase of a new project, or in revamping an existing initiative. It's a model created to understand macro, external, and uncontrollable factors. Factors with a considerable impact in both strategic planning, its execution, and future performance. Instead of explaining each letter in the acronym PESTLE, here I will approach differently, by questioning. Below are questions you should ask during your planning phase. These are central to the Pestel analysis. To avoid surprises like the one I had, this is a good start. First, political dimension. What are the political risks associated with the place? What are the risks of war, revolution, coup d'etat, elections overturned, etc.? How the main political actors view your industry? How the government approaches new or existing initiatives? Second, economic dimension. How stable is the economy? How volatile are the exchange and interest rates? Are there hedge tools available to protect yourself against drastic variations in exchange and interest rates? Is the purchasing power of the local market enough to acquire your product? Is the purchasing power of most people decreasing or increasing? How easy can the company and its consumers obtain credit? How are the unemployment rates? How easy is it to hire the required staff? Third, social dimension. What are the cultural norms? how those norms affect the product. For example, selling miniskirts in Saudi Arabia probably is not a good idea. How is the demographic pyramid, age, sex distribution of the population? How is it changing in the last years? How big are the differences between generations? Are there any social paradigms or taboos that can affect the business? Which lifestyle changes are happening? 4. Technological dimension. What are the tech infrastructure constraints? Example, limited bandwidth. Are there any governmental restrictions? Example, higher taxation of your components or import embargoes. Is there new technology around that can be a potential threat or opportunity? What are the regulations regarding technological innovations and access to it? What is the level of the local research and innovation agents? 5th, environment dimension. How the environment supports your business proposition. Example, if your idea is to sell house heaters in Rio de Janeiro, the environment plays against you. How stable is the climate and how disruptive for business can be the weather? How far are you, geographically, from your main stakeholders, people or companies related to your enterprise? How people's attitudes towards the environment may affect their business model. 6th, legal dimension. How the labor laws can affect the relationship with company staff. How consumer law can affect relations with clients. How import and export law can affect supply lines and sales abroad. How to respect both the substantive law, the actual rules and regulations, and the procedural law, the process, timing, and access to law enforcement. In some places, the procedural law essentially makes the substantive law meaningless. Ask questions, both from broad and specific matters. With so many questions built in the Pestel analysis, it may sound exaggerated to think about more interrogations. But it's not. Remember to add your particular questions from your industry to the Pestel analysis. Later, and as much as possible, answer them. In this way, you'll have a near comprehensible outlook about the uncontrollable factors affecting your business plan. By the way, please allow me a small digression. If you're enjoying this video, please give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button for our next videos, and activate the notifications. Now back to the Pestel. The last step is to ask yourself more detailed questions. Elements that can be controlled and even become opportunities. What are the procedures for a business visa? Do you need a working permit? Is there any minimum or recommended capital to invest required by authorities? Can you be the single shareholder or, like in some Arab Gulf countries, you need to have a local partner? What are the export-import licenses required for your business? What are the safety certificates necessary for your activity? What are the particular technical skills required from your future employees? Do you have local access to all the raw material you need, or you need to import it? How are your neighbors and the local population reacting to the idea of your business? Are they hostile, indifferent, or friendly? After acquiring this knowledge of all variables, organize the information. If you need to do a business plan for a government office, potential investors, or funding round, all this material will impress most eyeballs. Not many people go that far in knowing their own industry and location, and by doing it, you have a great advantage. Congratulations and thanks for watching!